It is 6 o'clock in the evening. You are standing in your own living room, and your body feels like a tightly wound spring about to snap. The television is playing a cartoon at a completely normal volume. Your dog is walking across the hardwood floor, his nails clicking against the wood. Your partner is sitting on the couch, chewing his dinner. These are ordinary, everyday sounds. But to you, in this exact moment, they are excruciating. Every single click, chew, and cartoon voice feels like too much for a nervous system that has been carrying too much for too long. You clench your jaw so hard your teeth hurt. You want to scream. You want to rip the television off the wall and throw it out the window. You want to run out the heavy front door and escape into absolute silence. And standing there, vibrating with this sudden, explosive rage, a very dark, deeply painful thought creeps into your mind. You wonder if motherhood has somehow permanently ruined your entire personality. You look at your partner, who is just trying to eat his food in peace, and you feel an overwhelming wave of guilt. Why are you so angry? Why do you suddenly hate the sound of his breathing? You quietly convince yourself that you have become a bitter, highly miserable, and utterly unbearable person. You think back to who you used to be before the baby arrived. And that thought hurts. You used to love having the television on in the background. You used to enjoy the lively noise of a busy house. Now, you snap at the slightest disturbance. You tell yourself that you are failing at being a loving partner and a patient mother. The real enemy here is not the noise of the television or the dog walking across the floor. The true enemy is this dark, punishing narrative you keep repeating in your head. And underneath all of it, the noise keeps growing. You wrongly believe that your explosive anger is a massive character defect. You believe you completely lost your sense of humor. No wonder you feel ashamed. But what if everything you are telling yourself is a complete lie? What if this intense intolerance to everyday noise is actually the greatest biological proof that your maternal brain is functioning exactly as it should? We need to stop viewing your evening rage as a psychological failure. We need to transform what you see as a horrible personality defect into what it really is, a biological adaptation that came with a very real cost. When you became a mother, your biology did not make you weaker. It made you more responsive, more alert, and far less able to ignore what once felt easy to ignore. It intentionally made you incredibly sensitive to your environment. Evolution did not care about your ability to politely watch television or enjoy a busy living room. Evolution only cared about one objective: keeping your helpless infant alive. To achieve that monumental task, your brain underwent a drastic rewiring process. You do not hate the noise because you have become an angry or bitter person. You hate the noise because your brain is no longer treating the room like background scenery. It is treating the room like information that might matter. To understand why this happens, we need one simple piece of neuroscience. It is called sensory gating. That is the brain's ability to decide what stays in the background and what gets promoted to your full attention. Before you gave birth, your brain had a robust, highly functional gate. When your partner chewed his food, or when heavy traffic passed by outside the window, your sensory gate identified those sounds as non-lethal. It automatically muted them before they could even reach your conscious awareness. You barely noticed them because your brain was better able to label them as safe and let them fade into the background. But pregnancy, birth, sleep disruption, and constant infant monitoring can change how that gate behaves. For many mothers, the filter becomes less efficient, less forgiving, and far easier to overwhelm. Why? Because early motherhood often teaches the brain to stay on alert. When you are responsible for a baby, subtle sounds can start to feel more important than they used to. And once the brain learns that pattern, everyday noise can begin to feel much harder to ignore. What that can create is a kind of sensory overload, where the brain becomes less able to push harmless input into the background. Without that same buffering effect, it can feel as if everything is getting in at once. The sounds in your home stop feeling layered and manageable and start feeling crowded, sharp, and impossible to ignore. The cartoon on the television is no longer just background noise. It feels intrusive. The sound of the dog's nails on the floor feels intrusive. The sound of chewing feels intrusive. Too many ordinary sounds start arriving with more intensity than they should. Not because you are dramatic, because your system is tired, vigilant, and running low on room. Your brain is staying highly alert to sound, constantly checking what matters and what might need your attention. By 6 o'clock in the evening, your prefrontal cortex may already be worn down from hours of monitoring, adjusting, soothing, and staying alert. It is tired, very tired. And tired brains do not process irritation gracefully. So the rage you feel is not proof that you are cruel. It is often what overload feels like when there is no margin left. There is a real cost to staying that alert for that long. Listening no longer feels passive. It feels like work. Heavy work. And by evening, your brain can start acting like a room where too many lights, too many voices, and too many demands have all been left on at once. Your partner may be able to sit on the couch and hear the television with far less strain than you do. His brain is not necessarily carrying the same level of auditory vigilance in that moment. But your brain is tracking far more of the house than it used to, and it is doing that all day long. By the time the sun goes down, sensory fatigue can be real. Your brain has less patience, less flexibility, and less room to sort one more sound kindly. So when your partner bites into something crunchy, the sound does not land gently. It lands hard, and the anger that follows is not random. It is often your system's rough way of saying, no more input right now. This cruel biological reality brings us face to face with the most toxic lie that society tells modern mothers. We have romanticized the dangerous concept of the ultimate multitasking mother. The systemic expectation is that you should be able to effortlessly cook a full dinner, actively listen to your partner talk, keep an eye on the loud television, and easily hold a baby on your hip simultaneously. Instagram and modern parenting culture demand that you perform all these exhausting tasks with a peaceful smile on your face, even while your coffee goes cold for the third time. But this systemic narrative completely ignores the rigid, inflexible physical limits of human neurological bandwidth. This massive cultural contradiction is secretly destroying your daily peace. The world around you keeps asking for calm performance from a system that is already overextended. It asks you to stay pleasant, attentive, productive, available, and emotionally soft. Even when your brain has been on alert since dawn, that contradiction is not small. It is exhausting. Every time someone talks to you, every time the dog barks, and every time the television flashes one more bright image, your brain has to make room for it. And by 6 o'clock in the evening, there may be almost no room left. The explosive anger you feel is not a tantrum. It is a limit. Your nervous system is telling the truth long before your words are able to say it gently. But you cannot negotiate with biology. When the brain has no margin left, anger often rises fast, because anger creates distance. It makes you pull back. It makes you protect space. It makes the room stop feeling so close. That does not make you bad. It means your system is trying clumsily to protect itself. So how do you stop this evening shutdown from destroying your relationship? You can stop apologizing for what your biology is struggling to carry. And you can begin naming the noise for what it is, not a personal failure, but a real physiological limit. When you feel that explosive rage building in your chest, you need to recognize it instantly. Do not say you are sorry for being so unreasonably irritable. Instead, you look at your partner and say something simpler and truer. You say, "My brain is overloaded, and I need 10 quiet minutes. Please turn the TV down. Please do not take this personally. I am not rejecting you. I am trying to come back to myself before I break tone with everyone in this room." When you frame your anger as overload instead of attitude, shame begins to loosen its grip, and the conversation changes. He is no longer looking at a difficult woman. He is looking at a woman who has been carrying too much input for too long. And this matters. This is the science of grace. Not excusing everything. Not romanticizing the rage. Just telling the truth about what your system has been carrying, so you can stop punishing yourself for needing relief. The modern society we live in currently demands that women sacrifice their peace for the comfort of everyone else in the room. We are conditioned to tolerate the loud cartoon, the noisy barking dog, and the chewing, because we do not want to be the difficult wife. We do not want to ruin the evening. But sacrificing your biological bandwidth to maintain a false sense of peace in the house is a dangerous game. It leads directly to severe and damaging maternal burnout. You are allowed to need a quiet room. You are allowed to lower the volume. You are allowed to wear headphones while you cook. That is not weakness. That is resource protection. You are not withdrawing love from your family. You are protecting enough of yourself to still have love left when it matters most. The next time the clock strikes 6 and the rage begins to boil in your chest, do not ever judge yourself. Just stop telling yourself that you are failing. Stop believing the systemic lie that you should be able to multitask through the noise with a smile. Your anger is not proof that your maternal biology is broken. It is often a sign that it has been forced past its limit. You are reacting the way an overextended, protective brain often reacts when the environment keeps asking for more than it can gently hold. Do not worship the anger. Listen to it. Let it show you where the boundary needs to go. Then speak the boundary before the rage has to speak for you. Firmly turn down the volume of the world so you can finally breathe. You have survived another day of intense acoustic processing, and your nervous system deserves a profound rest. Not because you are weak, because you have been holding too much. Drop your shoulders and unclench your jaw. You do not have to keep performing a version of calm that your body can no longer afford. Let the guilt loosen. Let the jaw soften. Let tonight be lighter than the story you told yourself 5 minutes ago. This evening rage is not proof that you are failing. It is often what happens when an over-alert system has been asked to absorb too much for too long. And if you want to understand why your brain can feel so watchful, so tired, and so easily flooded by ordinary sound, I walk through that biology more deeply in our master video right here. Pull up a chair. Come sit with us in the village for a minute. If this found you on a hard night, leave a light here so another mother knows she is not the only one. And if borrowed guilt has been sitting on your chest all day, you can set it down here. You are safe here. The noise outside will still be there tomorrow. They will still expect the perfect mom. But the perfect mom doesn't exist. Only you do. And science already proved you are exactly who your baby needs. Drop your shoulders, take a deep breath, and I'll see you in our next pause.